only because he called me stupid.
But you were being stupid. I wanted to play with...
Hush, both of you. My goodness, a little prince and princess behaving in such a way.
She's not a princess.
Well, you're not Prince then.
Stupid.
Don't call me that.
Children, this is no way to act, and you are a princess, Lizzie.
But Grandma...
No buts. She is a princess and will always be, no matter what happens in this world. Would you like to hear a story?
What kind of story?
A story of a princess, a little girl about your ages who... Oh, never mind. See how late it is? It's off to bed soon.
No, I wanted to hear the story.
Me too, Grandma.
Well, sit down then and we'll begin.
Does the story begin with Once Upon a Time?
Why, of course. All good stories do. And so, once upon a time, there's a little girl named Sarah, and she and her father, Captain Crew, had lots of money. So much money, in fact, that people often mistook Sarah for a princess, even though she had no royal titles. She lived a very long time ago, before cars, and when people rode in horse and buggy, and in great ships across the ocean. In fact, that's just where our story begins, for young Sarah Carew just taking a long voyage from India to London. Close your eyes and picture the streets of London.
Now, Sarah, let me buy you something from the baker's cart.
I'm not hungry, Papa.
Oh, I see. It's a doll you want.
Not just any doll. I'm looking for Emily.
Emily? Who's Emily?
She's the doll I haven't got yet. Emily's going to be my intimate friend. I want her to talk to when we go back to India.
Well, I certainly can't argue with that. Look closer. Do you see Emily?
Papa, here she is. She's been here all along, waiting for us to come. Grandma, why is there a spider going to be in London? Where will she stay?
Who will take care of her?
Sarah's going to school. The climate of India was thought to be very bad for children, and as soon as possible, we're sent away from her. Captain Crew must return to his fortune and to his business.
Ah, Captain Crew, we are so delighted to have you and your daughter.
Hello, Miss Minchin. This is my Sarah.
It's such a privilege to have charge of one so beautiful and promising.
But I'm not beautiful at all. I'm surely one of the ugliest children I ever saw. She's beginning by telling a story. I should be telling a story if I said she was beautiful.
Now, Sarah!
What a delightful child.
Yes, Miss Minchin. Now, as I said before, I'm not the least bit anxious about Sarah's education. Give her a bedroom and a sitting room of her own, perhaps a carriage and a pony and a maid. You see, Sarah does not read books. She gobbles them up as if she was a little wolf instead of a little girl. You shall have to drag her away from her books if it becomes too much.
We will see to her every need, Captain Crew. Becky, James, gather the young ladies' things and take them upstairs.
Yes, Mom.
Thank you, Miss Minchin. Now, Sarah, I don't believe you know how much your papa's going to miss you. Are you loaning me my heart, little Sarah?
No, I know you by heart. You're inside my heart. Grandma, is Sarah's taking Miss Minchin National Mountain to our school?
Not at all, Lizzie. But there's also Miss Amelia, Miss Minchin's sister. She was really the better-natured person of the two, but she never disobeyed Mrs. Minchin.
I never saw such a funny, old-fashioned child, sister. She has locked herself into her room and is not making the least particle of noise. Or would you rather she kicked and screamed, as some of them do? I've been opening her trunks and putting her things away. I never saw anything like them. Sable and ermine on her coats. Oh yes, her clothes are perfectly ridiculous for a child. But they will look quite well at the head of the line when we take the school children to church on Sunday. She'd be provided for as if she were a little princess.
The other girls would have to wait until Sarah came to the schoolroom the next day to see her.
We passed her sitting room door and saw her French maid opening a box of her clothes.
What were they like?
The box was full of snakes. They
sweetheart.
She has silk stockings on. And what little feet. I never saw such little feet.
Do you think she's wearing those really petticoats?
She's very pretty, don't you think? Very pretty. Lovely.
I don't think she's pretty at all.
Good morning, Miss Minchin.
Good morning, young ladies. I wish to introduce you to your new companion. I expect you all to be very agreeable to Miss Sarah Crew, who has just come to us from a great distance. In fact, from India. After lessons are over, I expect you all to make her acquaintance. Now, Sarah, as your papa has engaged a French maid for you, I conclude he wishes you make a special study of the French language.
I have never really learned French, but
That's enough. If you haven't learned French, you must begin at once. The French mistress, Madame Dufarge, will be here in a few moments. Take that book and look at it until she arrives. You look rather cross, Sarah. I'm sorry you don't like the idea of learning French.
I'm very fond of it, but
You must not say but when you're told to do things.
Bonjour, Madame Dufarge.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. Ah, Madame Minchin, is this the new people you have for me? I do hope that is my good fortune. Your papa, Captain Crew, is very anxious she should begin to learn French, but I'm afraid she has a childish prejudice against it. She does not seem to wish to learn.
Madame Minchin n'est je ne pas le français appris exactement par ordre de livre mon
The truth was, Sarah could not remember a time when she had not seemed to know French. Her father had often spoken to her as a baby, so she had always been familiar with it. She read and wrote French, like she read and wrote English.
Ah, Madame Minchin, there is not much I can teach her. She has not learned French. She is French. Her accent is excluded. You ought to have told me.
I suppose I did not begin right.
Young ladies, Miss St. John, what do you mean by such conduct? Remove your hair from your mouth and sit down immediately. Now, young ladies, shall we practice our French with such an exquisite example among us? Mademoiselle Herbert, répétez-moi. Je voudrais un paquet de biscuits.
Je voudrais un paquet de biscuits.
Very good. Mademoiselle Jones, je suis anglais.
Je suis anglais.
Mademoiselle Ross and Renard, le fille manger.
La fille manger.
Mademoiselle St. John, les bons pains.
Bong. Pang. It's funny, really. You ought not to laugh.
Oh,
What is your name? My name's Ermengarde St. John. Mine is Sarah Crew. Yours is very pretty. It sounds like a storybook. Do you like it? I like yours. You're very clever, aren't you? You can speak French. I can't say the words. I'm so incredibly dull and stupid. Not like you. Would you like to see Emily? Who is Emily? Come up to my room and sing. Is it true that you have a playroom all to yourself? Yes. Papa asked Miss Minchin to let me have one because, well, it was because when I play, I make up stories and I tell them to myself. And I don't like people to hear. It spoils it if I think people listen. You make up stories. You can do that as well as speak French. Can you? Why? Anyone can make up stories. Now, let's go very quietly to the door, and I will open it quite steadily. Perhaps we may catch her. Catch who? Emily, you see? What I believe about dogs is that they can do things they will not let us know about. Perhaps, really, Emily can read and walk and talk, but she will only do it when people are out of the room. Oh, she got back to her seat before we can catch her. This is Ermengarde St. John, Emily. Ermengarde, this is Emily. Would you like to hold her? Oh, may I really? She's beautiful. Lavinia and Jessie are best friends. I wish we could be best friends. I do so like you. I'm glad of that. It makes you think when you were like, yes, we will be friends, and I can help you with your French lessons.
If Sarah had been the self-opinionated, domineering child, the life she let Miss Minchin select seminary for the next few years would not at all have been good for her. She was given everything she desired for her good manners, her amiability to her fellow pupils. The simplest thing she did was treat as if it were a virtue. If she had possessed an arrogant way or a selfish mien, then she would have grown up to be a very self-absorbed young person. But her clever little brain told her a great many sensible and true things about herself and her circumstances.
Things happen to people by accident. A lot of nice accidents have happened to me. Perhaps I'm really a hideous child, but no one will ever know, just because I never have any trials.
Lavinia's had a child, and she is horrid enough. It's disgusting, the way Miss Minchin shows her off when parents come.
Dear Sarah must come into the drawing room and talk to Mrs. Musgrave about India. Dear Sarah must speak French to Lady Pitkin. Her accent is so perfect.
There's nothing so clever in her learning French. She just picked it up because she always heard her papa speak it.
The greatest power Sarah possessed was her power of telling stories and making everything she talked about seem like a story, whether it was one or not.
She went to heaven. Your mama has wings and a crown in heaven, where there are fields and fields of flowers, fields and fields of lilies, and people are never tired, however far they walk, and the streets are shining, and the people in heaven look down onto the earth and smile and send beautiful messages.
I want to go to it. I haven't any mama in this school.
I will be your mama. Yes, I will tell you a story, and then I will wash your face and brush your hair before lunch.
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful mermaid who swam softly about in the crystal green sea. She pulled a fishing net woven of deep sea pearls. High above the sea, on white rocks, sat a beautiful castle. A princess lived in the castle, trapped by an evil ogre. Every day, the princess watched the mermaid and dreamed of escape.
That girl is listening.
I knew she was listening. Why shouldn't she?
Grandma, would you know what makes me tired?
Is she as timid too? No, dear. Her name is Becky. Becky had just taken place of scullery maid at Miss Minchin's school. All day long, Sarah would hear Miss Minchin or the cook shout, "Becky, do this. Becky, do that." A few weeks later, Becky was sent up to put the bedrooms in order for the evening. Sarah's room she had saved until the last. On this particular afternoon, when Becky sat down, a tired, slow smile spread over her smudged face. Her head nodded forward, her eyes drooped, and she fell fast asleep.
Oh, that poor thing.
Oh, miss, I ask your pardon, miss. Oh, I do, miss.
You were tired. You could not help it.
Ain't you angry, miss?
Of course not you and you were not me. Accident, miss? Is it? James says the accident was when you was run over and fell the ladder and was carried to the hospital. No one is anywhere about. If your bed is a fantasy, I thought you might stay a tiny while. I thought perhaps you might like a piece of cake. Becky, weren't you listening to that story? Would you like to hear the rest? Me, sure. You haven't time to hear it now, I'm afraid. But if you'll tell me just what time you come to do my rooms, I will try to be here and tell you a bit of it every day until it is finished. Then I wouldn't mind how heavy the coal boxes was or what the cook done to me. If I might have that to think of. You may. I'll tell it all to you. Oh, that would be lovely, miss. Thank you, miss. And can I tell these stories to James too? I know he'd like to hear it. And can I take him a piece of me cake? The missus ain't got his proper meal and wheat. You may tell anyone you like. And here, have the rest of the cake. There's too much for me to eat all of it.
Not very long after this, a very exciting thing happened.
My dearest Sarah, I must first tell you how much I miss your little face in every moment of every day.
Now, let me share with you some good fortune which has befallen your papa. A friend from my school days has come to visit me unexpectedly in India, and he owns a large tract of land on which diamonds have been found. He is currently setting up diamond mines. He has generously offered for me to become a partner in his scheme and share in this enormous fortune.
Diamond mines! Sparkling diamonds, beautiful diamonds. It sounds so wonderful. It sounds like something from Arabian Nights. From a fairy tale. Sarah, tell us what the diamond mines are like. Imagine labyrinth passages in the bowels of the earth where sparkling stones stud the walls and roofs and ceilings and men dig them out with heavy picks.
Don't be silly. There's no such thing as a diamond mine. My mama has a diamond ring which costs 40 pounds, and it's not a big one either. If there were mines full of diamonds, people would be so rich, it would be ridiculous.
I believe you hate her.
No, I don't, but I just don't believe in mines full of diamonds.
Where her pretends is that she's a princess. She plays it all the time, even in school. She says it makes her learn her lessons better.
Ha! Let us begin to call her your Royal Highness then.
After this, the girls who were jealous of her used to speak of her as Princess Sarah when they wished to be particularly disdainful, and those who were fond of her gave her the same name as a term of affection. To Becky, and even James, it seemed the most appropriate thing in the world.
Oh, miss, that would be nice and filling.
Delicious, that's best. Sponge cake's a heavenly thing, but it melts away like, you understand, miss?
These will just stay in your stomach. But I have to do it carefully, miss, because if I leave crumbs, the rats will come out to get them. Rats? Are there rats in the attic? Lots of them, miss. But you get used to the noise they make scuttling about. I got so I don't mind them as long as they don't run over my pillar.
I sleeps in the stable, and the mice, they crawls up your pant legs while you're sleeping.
A few weeks before Sarah's 11th birthday, a letter came to her from her father, which did not seem to be written in such boyish, high spirits as usual.
Now, Sarah, your father is not a businessman at all, and documents and figures bother. Perhaps if I didn't have this fever, I should not be awake, tossing about half the night and in troublesome dreams the rest of the night. I say, if you were here, you would give me some solemn good advice, wouldn't you? Your birthday. It's coming up soon, isn't it? May I send you a doll to keep you company?
Papa, I would like another doll, but I am getting very old. You see, I shall never live to have another doll given me. This will be my last doll. If I could write poetry, I'm sure a poem about a last doll would be very nice. But I cannot write poetry. I have tried, and it has made me laugh. It does not sound like Watts or Coleridge or Shakespeare at all.
Oh, Sarah, you are better fun every year you live. God grant this business may right itself and I can come home to see you. Wouldn't I give to have your little arms wrapped around me this very moment? Wouldn't I?
Her birthday is to be celebrated by great festivities. Becky? Go and fetch the rest of the boxes containing the presents now. Amelia, if they are not opened with great ceremony, I will faint. And the cake, has the cake arrived? Don't just stand there. Go and lay out the plates. Oh, Becky, now. Oh, James! Stop fiddling with that box. Oh, pick it up now. Becky, go and fetch the red tablecloths. And James, once you're done, go and see if the cook is ready. Might as well make yourself useful. Ah, Sarah, you must have a seat here so the little girls can curtsy to you when they enter.
If you please, may everything be presented in the usual way. I would like to come in with the other girls.
Now, this is your birthday. It's no ordinary occasion. I do not desire to treat it as such. Come to all curtsy to Sarah. Very nice. Young ladies, Becky, put that box upon a chair. There's no room at the table. Becky, it's not your place to look at the young ladies. You forget yourself. You may leave us.
If you please, Miss Lynch and the maid, Becky, stay.
Becky, my dear Sarah.
I want her because I know she would like to see the presents. She is a little girl, too.
My dear Sarah, scullery maids are not little girls. But as you ask it as a birthday favor, she may stay. Becky, thank Miss Sarah for her great kindness.
If you please, Miss. Thank you, Miss.
Now go and stand over there. Now, young ladies, as you are aware, today is Miss Sarah's 11th birthday. Several of you have been 11 years old, but Miss Sarah's birthdays are different than those of other little girls, as when she grows older, she will be heiress to a large fortune, to which it will be her duty to spend in a meritorious manner. Her amiability she exhibits today by giving you this afternoon's party. I hope you all appreciate her generosity. I wish you to express your appreciation by saying aloud, all together, "Thank you, Sarah."
Thank you, Sarah.
Now we will leave you to enjoy yourselves.
Presents.
I wish my parents would buy me this many presents for my birthday. All I ever get is a basket of little cakes and new socks. My papa says I don't need anything else. My parents didn't arrange for a cake. I'm supposed to party. I'd give anything for a doll, or even a new dress. I love to have silk dresses like Sarah's. Sarah's father is the king. He can get whatever she wants. No, he isn't. He's a captain. It's just that he's really rich, not a king at all. I say better to be a captain of the dynamite than a king. Sarah is a diamond princess, a beautiful diamond princess.
These are books I know. Your Papa says he books for your birthday? Well, he's as bad as mine. I like them.
Open this one. Open this one.
Last doll.
Wow.
She's beautiful.
She's wonderful.
Suppose she understands human talk and feels proud of being admired.
It's all very well to if you have everything. Could you suppose and pretend if you were a beggar and lived in a garret?
I believe I could. If one were a beggar, one would have to suppose and pretend all the time.
Sarah, Miss Minchin has informed me that she must have an interview with your papa's solicitors. So, the refreshments are laid in her parlor. So you'd all better come and have your feast now, so that my sister can have her interview in the sitting room. Go back to your work, Becky. Come in. We're so delighted to have you. Pray, be seated, Mr. Barlow.
100 pounds, all expensive material.
He spent his money lavishly enough, that young man.
I beg your pardon, I don't understand.
Birthday presents to a child 11 years old.
Mad extravagance, I call it.
Captain Crew is a man of fortune. The diamond mines alone.
Diamond mines?
Ha! There are none, never were.
What do you mean?
We tried to warn the young man, but he wouldn't listen.
Diamond mines spell ruin often they spread wealth. The way Captain Crew...
The late? Captain Crew, the late? Do you mean to tell me that Captain Crew is...
He's dead, ma'am.
died of jungle fever and business troubles combined. Captain Crew is dead.
Business troubles? What were his business troubles?
Diamond mines and dear friends, and ruin.
Ruin.
Lost every penny. The dear friend was mad on the subject of the diamond mine. He put all of his money into it, and all Captain Crew's.
When the dear friend ran away, Captain Crew was already stricken with fever when the news came. He died delirious, raving about his little girl, and didn't leave a penny.
Do you mean to tell me he left nothing? That she is left on my hands a little pauper instead of an heiress?
She's certainly left a beggar, and she's certainly left on your hands, as she does not have a relation in the world that we know of.
Barrow and Skipworth certainly cannot be held responsible for this. We won't be held responsible.
Oh, this is monstrous! She's in my sitting room giving a party at my expense.
She's giving it at your expense, madam. If she's giving it. Barrow and Skipworth are not responsible for anything. Captain Crew died without paying our last bill.
Oh, I won't be made responsible. I refuse to be made responsible.
We haven't anything to do with that, madam.
If you think she is to be foisted off on me, I will turn her into the street.
I wouldn't do that, madam. It wouldn't look well.
Better keep her, make good use of her. She's a clever girl, I believe. You can get quite a lot out of her as she grows older.
I'll get a good deal out of her before she grows older.
I am sure you will, madam. I am sure you will. Good day.
A good day.
What is the matter, sister? Where is Sarah Crew? Sarah? Why, she's with the children in your room, of course. What has happened? Captain Crew is dead. He died without a penny, and that spoiled-pampered, fanciful brat is left a pauper on our hands. Go and get her. Don't just stand there staring like a half-wit. Go! What is that? How dare you! Come out immediately.
If we please, Miss Me.
Have you been there listening all the time?
No, Mom, not listening, but I couldn't help hearing.
Leave the room.
Yes, I will, but I just wanted to voice you. Miss Sarah, she's been such a routine lady, and she's been waved around and a foot, and what will she do now without no me? Please, would you let me wait her after I've done my pots and kettles?
No, certainly not. She will wait on herself and on others.
Oh, Miss, it's exactly like one of them stories. The poor princess was so thrown into the world.
Out!
Sister, she's the strangest child I ever saw. When I told her what had happened, she just stood quite still and looked at me without making a sound.
Now, Sarah, I will have no crying or hysterics. I suppose Miss Amelia has explained matters to you.
Yes, my papa is dead. He left me no money, and I'm quite poor.
You are a beggar. What are you staring at? Are you so stupid that you don't understand? I tell you, you are quite alone in the world with no one to take care of you unless I choose to keep you out of my own charity.
I understand.
Don't put on grand airs. The time for that is quite past. You are like Becky now. You must work for your living. You speak French quite well, and you can help with the younger children.
Oh, may I really? I know I can teach them. I like them, and they like me.
Oh, don't talk nonsense about people liking you. You'll run errands and help in the kitchen as well as in the schoolroom. If you do not please me, you'll be sent away. Now go. Stop! Don't you intend to thank me
What for?
for my kindness in giving you a home?
You are not kind, and this is not my home.
Sarah turned and mounted up 2 flights of stairs to the attic. She felt as if she were walking away and leaving her old self far behind. This child, in her short, tight, old frock, was quite a different creature.
This is another world. My papa is dead, Emily. Do you hear? Do you hear? My papa is dead. He is dead in India, thousands of miles away.
Oh, miss, might I, would you allow me just to come in?
Oh, Becky, I told you we were just the same. I'm not a princess anymore.
Yes, miss, you are. Whatever happens to you, whatever, you'd be a princess all the same. And nothing couldn't make you nothing different.
The change in her life did not come about gradually, but was made all at once.
Sarah, you would begin your new duties by taking a seat with smaller children at a smaller table. You must make sure they keep quiet, behave, and don't waste their food. You ought to have been down earlier, as Lottie has already upset her tea.
When the lessons are done, you'll take the washing less. The cook will beat you if you miss a girl. Hear me?
Mine's the same, Sarah. You'll need to scrub until they be white again for the Mississippi, please.
You'll do the schoolroom, the dining room, and the bedroom. Miss Minchin says we'll have no dinner till it's through.
Don't mind us, miss, if we don't say nothing play. Someone'd be down on this if I did.
I mean, please, thank you, and beg pardon, but it doesn't take time to say.
Soldiers don't complain. I'm not gonna do it. I'll pretend this is part of the war. Oh, Sarah, is that you? Are you unhappy? What do you think? Do you think I'm very happy?
To think she was the girl with diamond eyes. So terribly sad. I can't imagine being an orphan and living in an attic with rats.
Poor Sarah.
I never liked her much, even when she was a princess there. Now I just can't bear that way she has now, looking at people without speaking. Just as if she was finding them out.
I am. That's what I look at some people for. I like to get to know them. I think them over afterward.
Sarah, I will not have you forming intimacies and talking to the other children. It's better you live a separate life, one more suited to your circumstances. Lavinia, ladies, return to your studies. Sarah, take the washing in the kitchen.
What are you crying for, Ermengarde?
Well, I'm miserable, and no one need interfere.
So for several weeks, a barrier stood between Ermengarde and Sarah. When they met by chance, Sarah looked the other way, but Ermengarde felt too stiff and embarrassed to speak.
Ermengarde, you will get into trouble. I know I shall if I'm found out, but I don't care. I don't care a bit. What is the matter? I don't even like me anymore. I do like you. I thought, you see, everything is different now. I am different, but not in the way you think. Miss Minchin does not want me to talk to the other girls, so I try to keep out of the way. Oh, Sarah, I couldn't bear it
bewildered by the sudden change in her young adopted mother. One day, after lessons, little Lottie followed Sarah up to her new home.
Sarah, Mama, Sarah.
Don't cry and make noise. I shall be scolded if you do. And I have been scolded all day. The attic's not a such bad room, Lottie.
Isn't it? Why isn't it, Sarah?
You can see all sorts of things you can't see downstairs.
What sort of thing?
Chimney's quite close to us, with smoke coming up in wreaths and clouds and going up into the sky. Come and see. I wish someone lived across the alley.
Oh, Sarah, I like the attic. I like it. It's better than downstairs. I like to live here.
It's a lonely place. Sometimes it's the loneliest place in the world.
When Sarah was sent out on errands, a forlorn little figure carrying a basket or a parcel, trying to hold on to her hat when it was windy, and feeling the water soak through her shoes when it was raining, she followed with the crowds hurrying past her, did not seem to notice her.
Suppose I had dry clothes and suppose I had good shoes and a long thick coat and merino stockings and suppose just when I was near Baker's where they sold hot buns, I should find sixpence which belonged to nobody. Suppose if I did, I should go into the shop and eat 6 of the hottest buns and eat them off without stopping. A fork in me, please. Oh, it is true. And the baby cart is just there, but I will ask the bigger one when she has lost anything. Are you hungry?
Peanut just Anna.
Haven't you had any dinner?
No dinner, no yet, no breakfast, no yet, no supper, no nothing.
Since when?
Haven't got none today. No, I've asked and asked.
Wait here. Have you lost 4pence? A silver 4pence?
Bless us, no. Did you find one?
Yes, in the street just there.
Well, keep it then. It could have been there for a week, and heaven knows who lost it. You could never find out.
I know that, but I thought I would ask you.
Not really would. Would you like to buy something?
4 buns, please. Those have a penny each.
One, 2, 3, 4.
I said 4 if you please. I only have 4pence.
I'll throw in 2 more for make weight. Heaven knows you could eat these sometime.
See, this is nice and hot. Eat it and you'll not be so hungry. Bye. Suppose this was a magic bun, and a bite was as much as a whole dinner. I should be overeating myself if I went on like this.
Well, I never. If that girl hasn't given her bread to a beggar child.
Where have you wasted your time? You've been out for hours.
It was so wet and muddy.
Make no excuses and tell no falsehoods.
May I have something to eat?
Tea's over and done with. Do you expect me to keep it hot for you? Go to bed.
When she entered the attic, cold and hungry, with the tempest raging in her young breast, Emily's stare seemed so vacant.
I shall die presently, Emily. I know I shall die. I am cold, I am wet, I am starving to death. I've walked 1,000 miles today, and they have done nothing but scold me from morning until night. Do you hear? You are nothing but a dog. You care for nothing. You're stuffed with sauce. Nothing could ever make you feel you are a dog. Oh, you can't help being a dog. No more than Lavinia and Jessie can help not having any sense. We are not all made alike. Perhaps you do your sawdust best. It's taken. It really is taken. in India. Look, that Indian rug, and that's a statue of Shiva.
An Indian gentleman. Wonder if he worships idols, miss. He'd be an eat at a bell-sound wooden stone. Someone ought to send him a track. You can get a track for a penny.
I don't believe he worships that idol. Some people just like to keep them to look at because they are interesting.
I don't know, miss. I never lived next door to no Ethan. I just like to see what sort of wings they have. Sarah, Sarah, Sarah! Look at how yellow his skin is. Is he a Chinese? The geography say that Chinese men are yellow.
No, he's not Chinese. He is very ill. Very ill.
The sooner you cease tormenting yourself, the better it will be for you.
Do you think it's possible that the child I never cease thinking of?
Are you sure the child was left at his school in Paris? Are you sure it was Paris?
My dear fellow, I'm sure of nothing. I seem to remember nothing.
Come, come. We shall find her yet.
If I were able to travel, I would go with you, but it seems the only thing I can do is sit here wrapped in blankets and stare at a fire. This fever. Help me to find her, Carl. Help me.
I can come to Paris with your father.
Me too. We can help you find the child. I'm practically a grown man now.
I know we can help you, Father.
No, my children. You will stay here with Mr. Carrisford and keep him company. He'll need your laughter to distract him.
Olivia can stay. She's little.
We all want to go with you, Father.
I will write and tell you all about it. Now run into the house. It's a hideous damp night. I must speak to Mr. Carrisford some more before I go.
If you find the little girl, give her our love.
Goodbye, Father.
It could be Moscow, Carmichael. Or perhaps she was sent to someone.
I will search Moscow first, then Paris. If need be, we will search the world over. We will find her, my friend. We will find her.
Bye. Come on, Dottie. It has been hard to be a princess today, Emily. It gets harder as the weather grows colder and the streets get more sloppy. Oh, Papa, what a long time it seems since I was your little missus.
No one else ever looked out the other windows near Sarah's attic, and no one seemed to come near them until one evening.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Saeed. He's a good monkey. It will not bite. But he runs away sometimes and can be difficult to catch.
May I help you catch him?
I'm your servant, Mrs. Saeed. This monkey, he flees from one spot to the other, like a lion. Very disobedient, though not evil. The master, who's very ill, is sometimes amused by him. He would be made sad if his favorite had run away and been lost. Many thanks. Assalamu alaikum.
When Ram Dass had gone, Sarah remembered that she had, only a few years ago, been surrounded by people who treated her as Ram Dass had treated her, who salaamed when she went by, who were her servants. It was like a sort of dream, and it was all over, and it could never come back.
Whatever comes cannot alter one thing. If I'm a princess in rags and tatters, I can be a princess inside.
This was not a new thought, but quite an old one by this time. It had consoled her through many a bitter day, and she had gone about the house with an expression on her face, which Miss Minchin could not understand, and which was a source of great annoyance to her. It seemed as if the child were mentally living a life that put her far above the rest of the world.
Sarah, you foolish child! There are still ashes in the mantel in the sitting room, and the kitchen floors look like they haven't even been touched. You have no breakfast today.
And Sarah said,
Yes, Miss Minchin.
but she was really thinking,
You do not know that I are saying these things to a princess, and that if I choose, I could wave my hand and order you to execution. I'd only spare you because I'm a princess, and you are a poor, stupid, unkind, vulgar old thing. I don't know any better.
Oops.
A princess must be born.
Sarah, dear. Miss Minchin has informed me that if the holes in your shoes are not mended, then you will not be allowed your supper today, either.
What are you laughing at, you bold, impudent child?
I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking that you should not know what you were doing.
That I did not know what I was doing?
Yes, and I was thinking if I were a princess and you boxed my ears, what I should do to you. And I was thinking how surprised and frightened you would be if you suddenly found out
What? Found out what?
that I really was a princess and could do anything. Anything
Leave the room.
Excuse me for laughing if it were impolite.
Did you see her? Did you see how she looked? I shouldn't be all surprised if she did turn out to be a princess. Suppose she should.
I'm growing quite fond of him. You can do that with people you never speak to at all. You can just watch them and think about them and be sorry for them.
Did you see? The little girl who is not a beggar was passing.
Mom says her clothes are too shabby to wear.
The people at the school always send out on errands on the hardest days and nights there ever are. She looked all cold and wet, and I saw her turn her head over her shoulder and look at us.
It's a wonder she's not terrified of all the rats in that attic.
Rats?
She is not as other children, Saeed. She looks out of her attic window as if the sky spoke to her. The poor slave of the house comes to her for comfort, and there is a little child who comes to her in secret, and one older who worships her and will listen to her forever if she might. But the mistress of the house, who is an evil lady, has treated this angel like a pariah.
Wrong doll, so you certain no one comes up to the sack? That she won't return and surprise you? I do not want our surprise to be spoiled. You say you can do it while she sleeps. Suppose she's awakened.
Saeed, I can walk as if my feet were above it, and children sleep soundly, even unhappy ones. When she wakes, it will be as if a magician had been there.
It will be like a story from the Arabian Nights.
Ah, Saeed, you have a warm heart. It is 1,000 pities that you have not found the lost child. May your God lead you to where you are.
Are we in the Bastille yet? Do you always pretend that it's the Bastille? Nearly always. Sometimes I try to pretend it is another kind of place, but the Bastille is generally easy, particularly when it is cold. What is that? The prisoner in the next cell. Becky! Yes, listen. 2 knocks meant prisoner. Are you there? That means yes, I'm here and all is well. That means then, fellow sufferer, we will sleep in peace. Good night.
Oh, Sarah, it sounds like a storybook. Let's pretend. Are we in the Bastille now?
No! I've had enough of prison. We are in a castle, Lady Ermengarde, with knights and squires and vassals. I will spread feasts in the banquet hall, and calling minstrels sing and play, and relate romances. We will have roast boar and venison, steaming pieces and jugs of cider. Afterwards, we will have crumpets and tarts until we burst.
Oh, Sarah, it sounds so wonderful. I wish I had a feast like that.
Miss Minchin!
You lazy, stupid girl! How dare you steal from me when I've given you so much?
She's making her cry.
Will she come in here?
No, she will think I'm in bed. Don't stir.
Impudent, dishonest child! Who tells me she has missed things repeatedly?
It weren't me, Mom. I was hungry enough, but it weren't me. Never.
You deserve to be sent to prison, picking and stealing half a meat pie indeed.
It weren't me. I could have eaten the whole of it, but I never laid a finger on it.
Don't tell falsehoods. Go back into your room this instant. You'll have no meals tomorrow, none at all.
The wicked, cruel woman that takes things herself and says Becky steals them. She doesn't. She doesn't. She is so hungry sometimes she eats crust out of the ash barrel.
Sarah, you never told me. I don't mean to be rude, but are you ever hungry?
Yes, I am. I'm so hungry now I can almost eat you. And it makes it worse to hear poor Becky. She's even hungrier than I am.
Oh,
Year. Well, if you want me to. Advance, fair damsels, and be seated at the banquet table. My noble father, the king, who is absent on a long journey, has commanded me to feast you. Princes, pretenders, and Mr. Galley up in the corner. Now we will begin our feast! It's the missus!
I've suspected something of this sort for quite a while, but I never dreamed of such audacity. Lavinia was telling the truth. Becky, you impudent creature! You'll be sent away in the morning.
Oh, don't send her away. My aunt sent me the hamper. We were only having a party.
So I see, with the Princess Sarah at the head of the table. Becky, go to your attic. I'll attend to you tomorrow. You will have neither breakfast nor supper nor dinner. Put those things back into the hamper. Go to bed. You'll stay there all day tomorrow, and I will write to your papa. What would he say if he knew where you were tonight? What are you staring at me like that for?
I was wondering.
What were you wondering?
I was wondering what my papa would say if he knew where I am tonight.
You insolent, unmanageable child. I will leave you to wonder. Go to bed.
There isn't any banquet left, Emily. There isn't any princess. There's nothing left but prisoners in the Bastille. Oh, I haven't wakened yet. I'm dreaming yet. It must be a dream. For if I were awake, such things could not be. To the little girl in the attic from a friend. I don't know who it is, but somebody cares for me a little. I have a friend. The magic has come and done it, Becky. The magic that won't let the worst things ever quite happen. I don't know anyone in the world who could have done it, but there has been someone. And whoever it is, wherever they are, I have a friend. Becky, someone is my friend.
Through the mysterious agency which works in schools and among servants, it was quite well known by morning that Sarah Crewe was in horrible disgrace, that Ermengarde was under punishment, and that Becky would have been packed out of the house and sent away before breakfast, but that a scullery maid could not be dispensed with at once. The servants knew that she was allowed to stay because Miss Minchin could not find another creature so helpless and humble as she was, who worked like a bounden slave for so few shillings a week. The elder girls in the schoolroom knew that if Sarah was not sent away, it was for Miss Minchin's practical reasons of her own.
It was rather nasty of you, Abby, to tell about her having fun in the garret.
How did you find it out?
I got it out of Lottie. She's just a baby. She didn't even know she was telling me. There was nothing nasty at all in speaking to Miss Minchin. I felt it my duty.
I just don't think it was very kind of you. They weren't hurting anyone.
Well, it wasn't right, not proper, to be playing princesses.
What were they doing? Miss Minchin caught them.
Pretending some silly thing.
Pretending isn't silly at all. I heard they pretended to feast. And Ermengarde put out the basket her aunt sent.
The basket of cakes and cookies?
Sharing all those sweet things with a beggar child.
Well, she does look rather hungry most of the time.
And the waste is shrunk to almost nothing.
It's a terrible, terrible thing. I feel so sorry for Sarah.
It's a wonder Miss Minchin would turn Sarah out.
If she was turned out, where would she go?
How should I know? You don't care at all.
She looked rather sad when she came to the schoolroom this morning. I should think, after what's happened. She had no dinner yesterday. She's not having any today.
Well, I think it's horrid. They have no right to starve her to death.
if you know you're in disgrace? Are you absolutely hardened?
I beg your pardon, Miss Minchin. I know that I am in disgrace.
Do your best to look it, and not appear as if you'd come into a fortune. It's an impertinence. And remember, you are to have no food today.
Yes, Miss Minchin.
Well, James, don't just stand there. Go and fetch the ladies' packages and mail.
She can't be very hungry. Just look at her. Perhaps she's pretending she had a good victim. One can't pretend to be well fed. That would be impossible. I was very in 2 days. Maybe only God wants to get back up to it.
No, she still had it this morning, and it was still filled with sweet treats.
Yes, Ermengarde even gave me a cookie because she said she didn't want it.
Well, James, give the box to the lady to whom it belongs.
Belongs to Sarah.
To Sarah? What do you mean?
Says to the little girl riding dead.
Sarah, go and open the box.
To be worn every day will be replaced by others when necessary.
Young ladies? Sarah, you may as well go change into it and look presentable. Once you've finished, you join the ladies for your lessons. Oh, and Sarah, you need not run any more errands today.
Do you remember what she said to you that day in the schoolroom? About what you do?
No, I don't. Don't talk nonsense, Amelia. So it may be that Sarah Crewe has some previously unknown relation who has suddenly traced her whereabouts and chosen to provide for her. Relations can be very odd, especially rich old bachelor uncles who do not wish to have children near them. Such a person is sure to be crotchety and hot-tempered enough to be easily offended. This uncertainty means we must be very careful with Sarah Crewe.
Perhaps someone has left her a fortune.
I always thought something would happen to her.
Perhaps the diamond mine appeared again. And Sarah will be a princess, the diamond princess.
Don't please her by staring at her, you silly thing.
I can't help it.
It's the Princess Sarah. It's Princess Sarah.
Perhaps it is magic. Perhaps magic itself will help to hide stone marvels. But whatever happens, somewhere in the world, there's a heavenly kind of person who is my friend. My friend. Of course, it might all have been taken away. It might have been lent to me for just that one awful night, but it was sent to me. I had it. It was real.
Oh, lost, miss. Where does it all come from? Lost. Who does it, miss?
Don't let us even ask. If it were not that I want to say, oh, thank you, I'd rather not know. It makes it more beautiful.
Are you making something up in your head, miss?
No, Becky, I don't need to. I don't need to.
It's someone there, miss.
It is Mikey. He has crept out of the Lascar's attic, and he saw a light. Come on, Monkey Darling. I won't hurt you.
What will you do with him?
I shall let him sleep with me tonight, and then I will give him back to the Indian gentleman in the morning.
Please tell Mr. Carrisford we can wait us on the two lights. We'll go away if he doesn't want us. We've only come to cheer him up a little.
The Sahib will be glad to see you. Woo! Missy Sahib, you frighten me every day.
Listen to my lion growl, Janet! Now, Olivia, you must remember, Mr. Carrisford has been very ill, and when you come to cheer up a person who's been ill, you don't cheer them up at the top of your voice. You must sit here
I'm the oldest and I'm responsible.
You know, Olivia, Mr. Carrisford once told me that Captain Crew shot a tiger in India.
Shot a tiger? Pow, pow.
Come on, Laura. Help me arrange some pillows for Mr. Carrisford. Perhaps he would like to sit in his chair today.
But he never leaves his wheelchair.
Perhaps he will today. Oh, I do hope Father finds the lost little girl.
I wish for Papa to find you so that he can stay home.
I say, if Papa doesn't bring her back from Paris, let's all go and look for her. Every one of us.
We'll stand at the gate, and every time a little girl passes, we'll ask her what her name is.
Yes, I can help, Christopher. Let me help.
I can help too. Mr. Carrisford, how are you?
You do, my dears. It's very good of you to come and see me.
We like to come.
Mama said we might come and see you and cheer you up. Will you sit in your chair today?
Oh, no, I think I'll stay in my wheelchair. Why don't you take a seat in my chair?
I wanted to show you my pretty new dress. See?
Oh,
Right. We're not going to make a noise.
oh dear, let me see how smart you all are. Let me look at you.
Do you think you're any better, Mr. Carrisford?
I'm afraid not, Christopher. I'm anxious and it isn't good for me. But I shall be better if your papa brings me good news.
He won't be long now. When he comes from Paris, he always comes in the afternoon.
I say, I'll go to the window and watch the cat. Nor and Olivia, you can watch too.
Do you think that perhaps since she is an orphan, she is so poor that she's begging on the streets this very minute while we're waiting for her to be found?
I hope not. Oh, I hope not. Who knows what she may be doing? It's what makes me so miserable.
Here's the cab! Here's the cab! It's going to stop here! Oh, no it isn't. And it isn't Papa at all. There's only a fat old lady in it with a blue bonnet on.
I wish I could cheer you up until Papa does come, but I'm afraid when anyone feels ill, perhaps tearing up is too loud.
Oh, no, not at all.
May we talk about the little girl?
I don't think I can talk about anything else just now.
We like her so much, we call her the little lost princess.
You do? Why?
Because she'll be so rich when she is found. She'll be quite like a little princess. And is it true that her father gave all of his money to one of his friends to spend in a mine with diamonds in it? And then his friend thought he had lost all and ran away, thinking he was a robber?
But he wasn't really, you know.
No, he wasn't. Really. The mine did turn out well after all, but it was too late. Captain Crew was dead. If he had been alive, he and his little girl would be very rich indeed.
I'm sorry for your friend.
Are you?
I can't help it.
Well, I'm sorry for the friend too. I am the friend.
Oh, dear, poor Mr. Carrisford.
Oh, Papa must find her.
Yes, we must find her.
Here he is! Here he is!
I wish I could get up, but it's no use, I cannot. Go greet your father. Rondos.
No, children, not now. Now, come with me as I speak to Mr. Carrisford.
I'm glad to see you, very glad. Sit down. Tell me what news you bring.
No good news, I'm sorry to say. I went to the schools in Paris and in Moscow, and though I saw many little girls, none were the one you searched for.
Then the search must begin all over.
I'm afraid so.
Carmichael, I must find her. I shall never get well until I do find her, and given the fortune the mine has made. It is hers, and she, poor girl, begging in the streets. Crew put into the scheme every penny he owned, and died thinking I had ruined him.
Come. We shall find her yet. We will search every city if we must.
I know! Look at London!
London?
We will stand at the gate at the park, and every time a little girl passes, we'll ask her what her name is.
No, Olivia, that's a silly idea, but Father, you can look in the schools. There are lots of schools in London, even a school right next door.
Well, perhaps. I'm not sure what good it may do.
There is a child there who interests me. She's not a pupil, just a small, forlorn creature.
Saeed, the child herself has come. The child is Saeed for pity for her. She comes back with the monkey who had, again, run away to her attic under the roof. I've asked that she remain. I thought the Saeed would like to see and speak with her.
Who is she?
The little girl who is not a beggar.
But she looks like one because her clothes are so ragged, and the headmistress sends her out on errands in the cold and the wet.
God knows where she comes from. Just a little drudge at the school, I suppose. Yes, I should like to see her. Send her in. Well, you've been away. I've been desperate. Days were so long and dark. And Ram Das and your children told me of this girl's miseries, and together we devised a scheme to help her. It was childish, yes, but it gave me something to plan and think.
Your monkey ran away again. He came to my garret window last night, and I took him in because it was so cold.
That was very thoughtful of you.
Shall I give him to the Lascar?
How do you know he's a Lascar?
Oh, I know Lascars. I was born in India.
You were born in India. Come here. You live next door.
Yes, I live at Miss Minchin's seminary. At first I was a pupil and a parlor boarder, but now
You were a pupil? What are you now?
I sleep in the attic next to the scullery maid. I run errands for the cook and does whatever she tells me, and I teach little instead of lessons.
Carmichael, question her. I cannot.
What do you mean by first you were a pupil, my child?
When I was first taken there by my papa,
Where is your papa?
he died. He lost all his money, and there was none left for me. There was nobody to take care of me or to pay Miss Minchin.
Carmichael. Carmichael.
You must not frighten me. You were taken into the attic and made into a little drudge. That was about it, wasn't it?
Yes, there was nobody to take care of me. There was no money. I belonged to nobody.
How did your father lose his money?
He did not lose it himself. He had a dear friend who was very fond of him. He was very fond of me. His friend lost his money. He trusted his friend too much.
The friend might have meant to do no harm. It might have happened through a mistake.
The suffering was just as bad for my papa. It killed him.
What was your father's name? Tell me.
His name was Ralph Crew, Captain Crew. He died in India.
Carmichael, it's the child. The child.
What child am I?
He was your father's friend. There's no need to be frightened. We have been looking for you.
And I was at Miss Minchin's all the while, just on the other side of the wall. Oh, is he the wicked friend? Oh, do tell me.
That's not what he did, dear. He did not really lose your papa's money. He only thought he had lost it. Because he loved him so much, his grief made him so ill that for a time he was not in his right mind. He almost died of brain fever, and long before he began to recover, your poor papa was dead.
And he did not know where to find me. He has looked for you everywhere.
When we saw you pass by looking so sad and neglected, we did not dream that you were his poor child.
But since you were a little girl too, I had Ram Das climb in your window to try and make you more comfortable.
You said the things, the beautiful, beautiful things. You said them?
Yes, child. Yes, I did.
Then it is you, my friend. It is you, my friend.
He'll be well again in 3 weeks. Just look at his face already.
Miss Mitchell will be mad if I do not come back.
No, you will not return to seminary. For you, sir, do not deserve to be in the company of such a woman.
I'm glad I need not go back.
Ram Das will go next door to inform Miss Minchin of her little charity pupil's new fortunes. I feel as though I do not want to lose sight of you.
We're so glad you're found.
We'll be your cousins now.
And I shall be your uncle.
And who shall you be to me?
I will never be your father, but friend.
Oh, it seems my journey is unnecessary. Miss Minchin has come in search of our people herself.
Send the woman in.
I'm sorry to disturb Mr. Carrisford, but I have explanations to make. I am Miss Minchin, proprietress of the Young Lady Seminary next door.
So you are Miss Minchin.
I am, sir.
Well, in that case, you've come at just the right time.
Don't understand. I've come here as a matter of duty. I have just discovered I've been intruded upon by the forwardness of one of my pupils. A charity pupil. Go home at once! You should be severely punished. Go home at once!
she is not going.
Not going?
She is not going home. If you give your house that name, she's going to stay here with me.
With you? With you, sir? What does this mean?
Carmichael, kindly explain the matter and get it over with as quickly as possible.
With pleasure. Mr. Carrisford, madam, was an intimate friend of the late Captain Crewe. He was his partner in certain large investments. The fortune which Captain Crewe supposed he had lost has been recovered, and is now in Mr. Carrisford's hands.
Fortune? Sarah's.
It will be Sarah's fortune. It is Sarah's fortune now, in fact. Certain events have increased it enormously. The diamond mines have retrieved themselves.
Diamond mines?
Not many princesses, Miss Minchin, will be as rich as your little charity pupil Sarah Crewe will be.
Captain Crewe left her in my charge, where she must remain until she's of age. The law will interfere on my behalf.
Come, come, Miss Minchin. The law will do nothing of the sort.
Then I appeal to Sarah. I may not have spoiled you, perhaps, but you know your papa was pleased with your progress. And I have always been fond of you.
Have you, Miss Minchin? I did not know that.
Won't you do your duty to your poor papa and come home with me?
You know I will not go back with you, Miss Minchin. You know quite well.
Let me see your companions again! I will send an army guard and let your cat away!
Excuse me! She will see whoever she wishes to.
The parents of Miss Crewe's fellow pupils are not likely to reject her invitations to visit her at her guardian's house. Mr. Carrisford will attend to that.
I suppose you feel as if you are a princess again.
I try not to be anything else. Even when I was cold as the Hunger Games, I tried not to be.
Madam, may I show you the door?
Miss Minchin returned home and sent at once for Miss Amelia to explain things.
I'm not as clever as you, sister, and I'm always afraid to say things to you for fear of making you angry. But I must say, I've often thought that it would have been better if you'd been less severe on Sarah Crewe.
How dare you say such a thing?
I don't know how I dare, but now I've begun, I may as well finish, whatever happens to me. The child was a clever child and a good child, and she would have paid you for any kindness you had shown her. But you didn't show her any. She saw through us both.
Amelia?
She did. She saw through us both. She saw that you were a hard-hearted, worldly woman, and that I was a weak fool, and that we were both of us vulgar and mean enough to grovel on our knees for her money and behave ill to her because it was taken from her, though she behaved herself like a little princess even when she was a beggar. And now you've lost her, and if she were like any other child, she'd tell how she's been treated, and all our peoples would be taken away, and we should be ruined. And it serves us right. But it serves you right more than it does me. For you're a hard woman, Maria Minchin. You're a hard, selfish, worldly woman. Huh.
After this, the elder Miss Minchin began to stand a little in awe of a sister who, while she looked so foolish, was evidently not as foolish as she looked, and might consequently break out and speak truths that others did not want to hear.
I just had this letter from Sarah. From Sarah? Where is she? Is she alright? Next door with the Indian diamond mines. There were diamond mines. There were. They were real. It was all a mistake about them. And it turns out that there were millions and millions and millions of diamonds, and half of them belonged to Sarah, and they belonged to her when she was living in the attic with no one for a friend, and the cook ordering her about. Mr. Carrisford just found her this afternoon. And he's got her in his home, and she will never come back. And she will be more a princess than she ever was, 150,000 times more. And I'm going to see her tomorrow afternoon. So there.
So until almost midnight, the entire seminary, realizing somehow that all the rules were laid aside, gathered around Ermengarde and heard, read, and reread the letter containing a story.
Missy Saib remembered. She told the Sahibal. She wanted to let you know of the good fortune which has befallen her. Behold, a letter on a tray. She has written. She did not want you to go to sleep unhappy. The Sahib commands for you and your friend James to go to him tomorrow. You are to be the attendants of Missy Saib. Assalamu alaikum.
It's the real Ethan!
The Indian gentleman never had a companion he liked quite as much as he liked Sarah. In a month's time, he was, as Mr. Carmichael prophesied, a new man.
Excuse me, miss. I can't help feeling that I recognize
Yes,
you.
once you gave sixpence for fourpence,
And you gave 5 of them to that beggar child. I've always remembered it. It just seems such a noble thing to do when you were just as hungry yourself and yet you gave away your bread like you were a princess.
she was starving. I was just hungry.
She was starving. Many's the time she's told me of it since, how she just sat there in the cold and the wet, feeling like a wolf was gnawing at her young little insides.
Have you seen her since then? Do you know where she is?
Yes, I do. She's been here near a month, and such a help in the kitchen and in the shop as you'd scarce believe knowing how she's lived. Her name's Anne.
Anne, would you come here for a moment?